Hello, my friend. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, apologies for being late. I have to fix my wired earphones. Okay, 29. I think we're still waiting for three more individuals. I will not be checking your attendances, but I will be asking the groups later to send me a screenshot of their group chat for the quiz B, which stands as proof that your group has coordinated with each other and that you guys have indeed worked for the activity. Okay. So I will be dispensing with the traditional roll call of the class list, but towards the end later on, for purposes of recording your scores for the quiz B, I will again ask each groups to send me a screenshot of your group chat, or if you guys are in a video call or in one area, like a photo, just for me to know who has helped who in your group quiz B. Okay? Um, Hold on, saglit ah. At this point, I'd like to know if you guys already have identified which group you guys belong to. Lahat naman may grupo na, no? Okay? So that's just an assumption on my end so that everything works out smoothly. And then I suppose everyone has already registered for the AM and the PM schedule for tomorrow. Everybody is taking it in the morning except for Miss Cortez. Am I correct? Because she has a class. So paki-remind na lang nung mga all right, thank you for that. Paki-remind na lang ng mga group members. This is how we'll do things this afternoon. Thank you for giving me this time. I think I have two reasons why we have to meet on a Tuesday, and I have to have a last minute announcement as to when. The first is for you to have a fresh recall of things that we've discussed in the quiz B. I made sure that all questions rather in the quiz B are also found in the examination sheet. So there must be a 1:1 correspondence to all things that you would be able to see later in the group quiz B. However, the group quiz B is in a multiple choice or a true or false format, but your examination is in an essay or objective examination format. So it is your responsibility to deduce from the terms or the concepts or the principles or the analysis how it would likely be phrased as an essay question later on or tomorrow for purposes of your exam. So I hope that there's a fresh recollection. And second is that I really didn't know until last night if I'm going to have a free schedule in the afternoon. Usually, even if I'm already done with law school, my grades are all in just this afternoon for graduation. We also have our in-house review and also online review for the bar exam. So usually my afternoons are still full for review classes. I'm glad that I'm able to do this today with you guys just before meeting everyone tomorrow. So today, my intention is to use at least the first 20 minutes to go back to the summary matrix, which I have not discussed yet with you, but I assume that almost all of you already had access to that because you took photos of that. Although may mali doon ha, yung sa baba hindi ko nakita, pangkabilang klase yon. That's for my comparative politics class, yung gender, and institutions. So when I discovered that I incorrectly edited the table because I just copy paste the tables for the summary, I immediately changed the uploaded version of the matrix. So kindly check if you have the correct copy of that matrix because it should not contain at the fourth row at the bottom a discussion on gender in development and gender and development because these are comparative politics concepts. Rather, you must have the explanations on myth making and authoritarian nostalgia, which is the correct version of the file. Be careful about that. Um, so I'll do that maybe up until around 5:15 Hindi, anong oras na ba? 5:30. So maybe around a little 6:10-ish to 6:15. And then we'll proceed with the quiz by 6:15 onwards until 7. And if someone is kind enough, can you just kindly let me know over the chat if Miss Kay Gabinete has already logged in? I understand that she has a PE class until 6 p.m. today. Okay? Ayun. So, and then for you not to be shocked, we will be using Kahoot, which is an online gaming platform for your quiz later. Maybe some of you already have asked your upperclassmen how I do things online. So if you are having a mobile phone or in your tablet, make sure to go to www.kahoot.com, and later on, once it's time for our quiz B, okay, I will just flash on the screen the game pin or the code which you need to enter into in the website so that you could enter. Okay? Ayos ba kayong lahat? Guys, are you with me? All right. Sige, just before we proceed with the last review for the summary matrix, I understand that it's election period in Miagao. When is the election? When do you cast your votes? You guys can just unmute your microphone. Kailan ang pagboboto?
8 to 10, sir.
8 to 10. Oh, that's tomorrow until Wednesday? Until Friday rather. Okay. So
Right,
my
sir.
all right. And it's casted at the AS lobby. No, hindi naman sa CFOS. Okay. My suggestion is that you prioritize your examination first. I know that some of you might have been more politically awakened in the past few days, but maybe leave these things behind first and prioritize your examinations. Okay? Because you're in the university to graduate and not to be a hero for anyone else's because of your political causes. Okay? Not saying that you must not be political, but for tomorrow, maybe later tonight and tomorrow, devote your time to study, okay? And pass the examinations first before pa kayo mag-spend ng time for other things. What else? Well, politics in UP Visayas, especially in AS, has traditionally been really tight, so to speak. Okay? I'm not just sure with you guys, but you were on campus already when you were in first year. I'm not sure with the fourth years and the third years, because maybe you have spent a couple of years or so where things are online, di ba? Pero si Rainier, I trust, has experience already campus politics pre-pandemic. So, ganun talaga katindi yung AS politics. Hindi naman nagpapatayan, pero it's short of nagpapatayan, pero marami talagang drama involved in campus politics. I'm just glad that I am no longer the SEB advisor because I used to serve as the SEB advisor. But I think what I have to say is exercise your own freedoms of speeches and choices, but you will soon realize that Miagao is just a small university, a community full of passionate people and individual, and chances are you will become friends after election season. Okay? And chances are you will have to work with people you despise with or you do not agree with during election season. So make it a friendly exercise of your rights, okay? And always remember uh, small politics. If you're not enough, labas din yan sa exam, your degree of self-awareness. Do not exclude automatically, not other principles with you. Okay? Yun lang. I think my last point about campus politics and election is that always ask yourself, what is the contact zone? And what is the best strategy for you to use if you ever find yourself having in the opportunity of the contact zone? you guys are in a higher position, so to speak, because you're political science students or social science students, if not in the degree program of political science. So dapat kayo yung may ability to reason out with compassion and with full understanding that politics is all about preference, but also it has many ways to impact your life. And also make sure that, yeah, remember about Kusaka's contact zone. Okay. From there, I'd like to present my screen from my tablet. Saglit lang. Let me try if this actually works. Nasaan na yung table? Okay, share screen. I think I received majority of your assignments. Some were detailed, some were really just complying with the instructions. It doesn't matter. A lot of you ask questions about how to go about the writing process, but I hope that you guys have realized that because it was not conducted in class, I changed the point system and I gave majority of the weight of the points for quiz number 5, which is worth 2 points to the examples that you were giving in your written exam, in your final activity, which is quiz number 5. So I will read them again one by one once I receive your notebooks. And then just for reminders, towards the end of our activity today, I will be providing some final reminders in your exam bulletin number 4, which is the last and the final reminder. Okay. So if you guys recall, this is quiz number 5, where I changed the point allocation. And then the question was just basically asking the main concepts or the short title of the work of Seidel, Kusaka, Coulibaly, including July Tihanki's work. Expect that you will need not to memorize the entire title because it's an essay exam tomorrow. But what I wanted to tease out from this activity is that for you to be able to identify the main concepts in Seidel's work, in Kusaka's work, in Coulibaly's work, and in Tihanki's work. And if you are given situational essay questions tomorrow, without a doubt, the first thing that you would be thinking about is, this question belongs to this author. And then from there, you do a deductive logic of analysis. Since you know already what the main argument is, maybe you deduce from the main theory or argument and look into the variables or the concepts present or absent in the essay questions. That is the reason why in item number 5, I ask you to give me one example or an explanation coming from your own understanding of these 4 works which were subject of the reports in the past 3 weeks or 4 weeks or so. So what I'll try to do now is to answer this quiz, but expand the discussions to include proponent, their main arguments, and what does it mean if we apply the main concept of this particular author to the study of politics. Okay? So, ang gagawin ko is isi-synthesize ko para mas maintindihan nyo lalo kung ano yung gustong sabihin noong main argument noong author. So let's go first with John Seidel's Patrons, Bosses, Dynasties, and Reformers. For you to be able to memorize that phrase, PBDR, Patrons, Bosses, Dynasts, and Reformers. And make sure to remind yourself as you review in preparation of the examinations tomorrow that these 4 actors here are informal institutions, right, in the study of Philippine politics. And they are not the same as to their definition with each other. Remember that patrons are in the patron-client relationship analysis. Bosses are connected to the 3Gs analysis of goons, guns, and gold. Your dynas may either be fat or may either be thin but nonetheless, despite their categorization, these are political families up to the third degree of consanguinity who occupy what? At least two public positions simultaneously. Okay? And remember that, well, it is not yet banned in the Philippines, although there is a constitutional provision for the legislative branch to effect controls on political dynasties. But because of the fact that legislators themselves come from a long line of political dynastical families, they also do not support, and therefore it would be impossible for the Congress to pass anti-political dynasty laws in our country. So the conclusion is, again, this have been asked already in your quiz number 3, but maybe just to enforce the idea that this is really critical and important, you also have to remember by way of exceptions, the exceptions to the general rule as to when the legislative branch, okay, can give the function of legislation to other people. Diba? The general rule in your tripartite system of government is that only the legislative branch can legislate laws. And in the debate about anti-political dynasty provisions, this is a classic example of the Congress or the legislative branch failing or is failing to legislate the constitutional mandate that the Constitution requires it to do so. So the next question, perhaps, if you will be asked in an essay exam is, what is the best remedy given that the legislative branch does not fulfill its function, right? So what are the exceptions to the general rule, again, of the Congress being the only branch to legislate? You have the president for tariffs and quotas. You have the president for national emergencies, right? You have delegation to local government units, especially in their power of ordinances and taxation. You also have what? You also have delegation of the legislative power to the people when we discuss people's initiative, right? That's the reason why there are also debates about people's initiative. And you also have delegation to administrative agencies for implementing rules and regulations. For instance, there is a law, but the law is just too general and too vague, then departmental agencies like DILG or the PNP are given powers to legislate the nitty-gritty details of the implementing rules and regulations of how a particular law will be implemented. If you guys notice, in the 5 exceptions that I provided, there is no judicial legislation, right? Although always the beloved answer of your teacher is judicial legislation is the best alternative. Remember that judicial legislation is when the judiciary legislates because nobody wants to legislate. And it must be in the last resort. Judiciary is generally not allowed to do that, okay? Just to preserve the balance of power. But if these 5 exceptions to the general legislation powers of Congress cannot be had or is too impossible, then that is the only time that you would argue for a judicial legislation. So if you will be asked, is judicial legislation an exception to the general rule of the legislative power of Congress? The answer is it is not. It does not belong in the 5 that I've mentioned, but it is the last resort if the 5 alternatives do not work. So make sure that you're able to to reflect that in your answer. Kasi dun pa lang ako magbibigay ng full point sa analysis nyo. Although tama na may exception, pero pag hindi nyo na-capture yung mga layers of hindi siya, it doesn't belong to the 5 exceptions, and it's the last resort, then you will not be given a perfect score if ever that is asked. Okay? So let's go now to PBDR. What is the main concept or the argument and the proponent? You know that it's John Seidel, right? And the main concept here is informal institutions, very much like a non-government organization or the module which talked about civil society organizations. Always remind yourself as a student of the social sciences or humanities at large, that patrimonialism, bossism, dynasticism, and even political reformism are not formal institutions. These are informal behaviors of people or informal political relations that nonetheless are existing in political reality, but they are not really formal. Hindi sila parte ng government, but they are still as important. Okay? So halimbawa, pina-enumerate kayo. Enumerate examples of informal institutions in the study of Philippine politics. Aside from the civil society organization, then you include TBDR in your enumeration. Question, do you include the church as an informal institution in the study of Philippine politics? Kasi nasa module 4 po siya. Ano sagot? Sagutin niyo ako. Dali. You do not include the church, right? Remember, I told you that the church is a corporation sole, meaning it is an established corporation under Securities and Exchange. Pero hindi na ako magtatanong ng ganon. That's high level already. But what I wanted to emphasize and for you to absorb, because, well, obviously, I'll be missing you because this is the last lecture for the semester already. I want you to absorb the idea that the state is not a formal institution in the study of politics. In fact, it must be separated from the state, right? And in fact, the state must not even establish what? A state religion. So it's not a formal institution. The caveat is that, remember this, everybody. The caveat, though, is that because the church has always been an influential political actor, it still must be included in your political analysis, especially for policy making. Okay? Naalala nyo yung quiz number 4 nyo, where I asked an example from you to tell me how the church becomes a stakeholder in public policy? Tap yourself, that's a reminder. The state, the church is rather not an informal, the church is not a formal institution of politics, okay? But rather, it is a stakeholder in politics, okay? Halimbawa, pag tinanong, so what is the inverse of that idea? What are the formal institutions in the study of Philippine politics? Balik kayo sa module 2, nandun lahat yung sagot. The 3 branches of the government, including what? The independent constitutional commissions. Yung COMELEC, right? Yung Commission on Human Rights, yung Civil Service Commission, saka ano pa yung isa? Nakalimutan ko kasi, that's why I have to ask. Commission on Audit, okay? These are separately enshrined in the Constitution, not part of the executive, not part of the legislative, not part of the judiciary, but they coexist and as an equal institution in the study of Philippine politics. I think I'm glad to say that there will be no question as to ask your level of understanding of what belongs to executive, what belongs to judiciary, what belongs. Wala na yan. Okay? Pero again, remember, kasi last lecture na ulit, na pag Commission on Human Rights, okay, independent constitutional commission siya. Okay? And pag nagsampa ka ng kaso, okay, hindi siya executive, hindi siya legislative, hindi siya judiciary. Just to follow on my idea from our last week's meeting, that I told you that human rights cases are always cases filed by a private party against the state. Di ba? So ang tanong, baka ang tanongin niyo, sir, asan, hindi na po ba kailangan dumaan sa public prosecutor? Kasi di ba lumabas sa exam yung public prosecutor's office? If where it would belong, the answer there is executive, correct? The Department of Justice, until you die, remember, is an executive branch. What about the Commission on Human Rights? If it's a human rights violation, it is not under the executive, okay? But it is an independent they also face significant challenges, okay, that might transform these institutions in formal politics. Halimbawa, patrons and bosses and dynasts are experiencing changes because of technological innovation on the ushering of social media networks. So they also have to keep their pace as political e-governance. So you know that fake information or fake news is part and parcel of Marcos myth making, right? Also memorize the four elements that contribute to Marcos myth making. It might come out as an enumeration question in your exam. But the main or technological change, economic development, etc., etc. But if you will be asked, just for purposes of exam, among the four political formal institutions in the study of John Seidel, what do you think is the most enduring informal institution in the study of Philippine politics? The answer is political dynasties, right? They have been in Philippine politics for quite so long. And the chances are not until there is an anti-political dynasty law, okay, dynasty, regardless of technological or economic change, they're gonna be a staple in Philippine politics. So maybe the bigger question is, as you guys advance your study in politics or mag-graduate na yung iba sa inyo or magti-third year na in your own degree programs, eh ano naman, 'di ba? Anong kwenta ng PBDR na pabaon ni Sir Clyde sa akin? This is its importance. PBDR represent continuity in political patterns in Philippine politics. Meaning, every time you're confronted with a political question, syempre hindi UP Visayas CAS election na, yung national election, PBDR actors are always and must be in your analysis. It could be that it's a patron, it's a boss, it's a dynast, or it's a reform. So I'll give you already, we've been giving a lot of Easter eggs in this lecture. Your first question in your essay is a very long question which talks about and measures your skill of identifying who is a patron, who is a boss, who is a dynast. Okay? So whenever you're asked in your exam tomorrow, is X considered a patron? You must defend your answer. He is a patron because, he is a boss because, he is considered as a dynast because. Okay? Lalabas yan. That's your first question tomorrow. So make sure that you are able to master the differences. Well, we said that they are always in the study of Philippine politics, right? But also, equally important are the factors that contribute to their structural transformation. The elements that also challenge their continuity are important variables in the study of politics at large. So and so that once you reach second year or third year or fourth year, where students in the degree program of political science are now allowed electives, you will be exposed to idea of voter mobilization theory, what is political domination, and what are political ideology or political ideological legitimation. I think hot issue to right now in Miagao, right? What are the political ideologies of political parties? I think I happened to read a pagbutlak post and some tweets from my students. My take in there is that ako lang ha, hindi ako tama, hindi din ako mali. Ayoko ding makisawsaw. I've always been very careful not to comment on student politics. Because I know where I stand and I'm a teacher, right? I must be able to inspire you and not to make you my enemy. Ang ako lang, sana hindi ako ma-misquote. In law, in the study of electoral law in the Philippines, there is no such thing as a political libel. Okay? You could not file a case against a person who is criticizing another individual because of the nature of his public position. So halimbawa, sinabi ko, putang ina ka Duterte, wala kang kwenta, salot ka sa lipunan. It's free speech. I could not be filed a political libel case. Okay? Kasi public officials or student leaders are subjected to greater scrutiny just by the mere fact that they wanted to become leaders or public servants in their own right. So pag tinanong ka, okay, kasi gusto mo dyan di ba? Gusto mo maging leader. Hindi ka pwede magsabing, that's covered of protected speech and that's libelous. I will not answer that. No, it's your responsibility to respond to all questions, whether it be politically motivated, may it be an unfair question, or may it be a question that taints your identity or character. Because the nature of public office is for public scrutiny. Okay? So, ang extension doon is just answer the question. Okay? If you have nothing to worry about, answer the question excellently because you may even turn the tides, okay? And prove to people in their faces that this is the case and this is not the case because I'm answering it in front of you. If you become political leaders, guys, take note of that principle. There is no such thing as a political libel case in the Philippines. Okay? So much of that. That's patrons, bosses, dynasts, and reformers. If you guys have questions, just feel free to butt in or unmute your microphone. I would not mind really. Okay? Let's go to the next reading. Moral politics in the Philippines. 4 points in your 20 points essay exam tomorrow. It's also a situation, and it will test as to whether or not you understand the framework, you know where you are in the framework, and you know when to comment or not, and you also know what is the danger if you would not understand what the framework tells you as a student. So this is by Kusaka, okay? And the concept that he puts forward is social and moral framework of Philippine society. It is a 360-degree turn from the traditional triangular structure of Philippine society, where we organize and relate to each other based on our economic standing. Here, we do not talk about who is poor and who is elite and who is middle class, but here we categorize people based on their morality. Do they support this? Are they against that? Although obviously you know that there is to one correspondence pa rin, di ba? Na if it is a public sphere, tama ba? Public sphere ba ang tawag where people at the
Mass sphere, sir.
mass sphere, and then the other side of the contrary to the mass sphere is what?
Civic sphere, sir.
Civic sphere. So dun sa civic sphere, remember that there are two economic classes, the middle class and your elite. And then in your mass sphere, you have individuals in below poverty level identification. What is the main argument of Kusaka? As an alternative to economic stratification, malaki naman, di ba? You can zoom that in because this is your Zoom screen allows you to zoom that in. 2 fingers and then pinch outwards. Philippine society is best understood from a dual public sphere based on morality. It means that politics and discourse is different in the civic sphere, which is composed again of elite and the middle class, and that of the mass sphere, which are your impoverished class. So the key there is that if you're presented with a problem in an essay question, if ever it will be situational, identify first the actors. Sino to siya ang ara sa problem? Person A and person B. Do they belong in the same moral spheres or do they belong in different moral spheres? And what if there's a conflict arising from their political perspective? What do you think is the best course of action in the contact sphere? That's how you must be able to study and prepare for the examination. So okay lang naman yung memorization, pero kung mapapansin nyo, ang hinihingi ko sa inyo would be higher level thinking skills, which requires you to apply the concept in particular situations. Okay? So, halimbawa, nagbasa ka na-memorize mo na-highlight mo na yung reviewer mo, sobrang kulay niya na. Tanong mo sa self mo, maa-apply ko ba to pag ganito ang tanong? Or ask yourself maybe, parang ano na lang, last minute efforts. Ano yung mga possible questions na pwedeng lumabas from this one? Okay? And as applied to the study of Philippine politics, the main important idea here is that there is always a contact zone between the civic and the mass sphere. But more often than not, Philippine politics is polarized based on we-they politics. Alam niyo naman yung polarization, di ba? Gets niyo naman yon? North Pole, South Pole, two polar opposites, iba sila. Langit at lupa yung differences nila. And sometimes when we say politics is polarizing, it means that we exclude people in the process of our own political participation. Hindi ko na siya pag-i-friend kay PMB/Samasa na siya. So I would not. Okay? And if you will be asked, just an example, what is the long run impact or effect of an exclusionary kind of politics? What do you think so? What do you think, guys, is the answer? What is the long-term impact of an exclusionary politics? When people always other or exclude and include others just based on morality. Yes, Mr. Bias, what do you think?
Hegemonic struggle, sir.
Magiging hegemonic struggle. Anong ibig sabihin ng hegemonic struggle? Kasi ang full title ng framework ni Kosaka is the hegemonic struggle of the dual public spheres framework. 'Di ba? Napakahaba. Hegemony is a totalitizing idea, which for political science students, you will experience, sorry, ang ituro sa inyo muna kasi hindi pa naman siya tamang ituro at this point. Para meron lang kayong idea, halimbawa, ano bang hegemonic? Capitalism. Capitalism, some people say in politics, is a totally neoliberalism pala, not capitalism, neoliberalism is a totally hegemonic ideology. It's a total hegemonic ideology. It means that it superimposes an idea on states and on people, especially economic planners, that for a country to develop or economically take off, neoliberalism is the only way to go. And what is neoliberalism? Di nagalagaw si Rainier. Neoliberalism is an economic preference of privatization, a regression of state function. Kung naalala nyo pa yung lessons nyo nung nag-Policy 101 kayo sa akin, yung public functions of the state, which is ministerial, okay, ministrant duties of the state. What is the opposite of a ministrant duty of the state? Mr. Zaragoza Jr., going back in your first year, constituent. Kung constituent function of the state nakalagay sa constitution, dapat ganito ang ginagawa ng estado. Pag ministrant naman, discretionary siya. But the reason why I said neoliberalism is a totally is that wala nang question. Pag sinabing kung sinabing ASEAN Free trade is the way to go with the small-scale farmers or our small and medium enterprises, which will be severely affected. Or never mind the quality of education because everything will now be privatized. Yung parang pagkatapos mong gumala sa SM, tatawid ka lang, National University na. And you can go to your school already. That's a privatized system of education. We have an NU campus, right? Being built just beside the SM Iloilo City. So parang ganon. It's totally essentializing. It resorts people to these fundamental ideas and you do not have the option to debate or to argue with it because it's considered as a fact of life. And therefore, electricity in the Philippines, since Corazon Aquino's term, has been privatized as well. Ang pangalan lang nila ay kooperatiba, pero private talaga yan. Yung mga Eleco, Seneco, right? The CO there is cooperative, but it does not really work as a cooperative because all of these are privatized public government functions. Okay? So, in the long run, to answer the question, it hurts democracy. Para lang hindi kayo mahirapan, right? An exclusionary politics hurts democracy because it tends to vilify people. You paint people as evil when in fact these people should be engaged with for political education. The moment you think other students that do not belong to your political organization as ano ba magandang term na gamitin? I will be very careful. But the moment you think that they are your opponents because they do not share the same political principle as you, despite being equal UP students in your own rights, it degrades democracy and political participation. Ang halimbawa, mag-aaway-away lang yung mga estudyante sa AS lang ha. Dahil dun sa tanong na yon, what is the overall effect? Hindi mag-aaway-away lang sila. Diba? Ayoko na makipag-organize ng event sa'yo. Gago ka nung election eh. Right? So you tend to hegemonize and vilify the other. And in the long run, exclusionary politics in your moral civic sphere and in your dual public spheres in Kawanaka, if not understood correctly, would hurt the quality of democracy and political participation and social capital of people with each other and among each other. So pag tinanong kayo, anong epekto ng ganyan-ganyang away? It will hurt democracy. The real opponent is who? The patrons, the bosses, the dynasts. Diba? Hindi mo naman kaaway yung estudyanteng nasa kabilang political party lang eh. Ang kaaway mo is yung Marcos na diktadorya, right? Yung gobyerno. Hindi kayo yung magkakaaway-away. We are just all the same. But because we are blindsided of the fact that they are just others, they think different from me. Maybe they're bobotante, right? Hashtag respect my opinion, pero bobo ka. I will not be your friend. You're hurting democracy in the long run. So if ever you're asked that question, that's how you should answer that. And maybe as early as now, I'm telling you, there is that question. Okay, in your essay, asking what do you think is the impact of this particular problem in the long run in your society where you belong. Okay, let's go to the next. Gender, action, Filipino Catholicism, past and present. Ito yung pinaka do not focus in this reading so much in the last hours of your review. I only have a couple of questions in there, but it's not really a focus of an essay, of a difficult essay question. But nonetheless, it's still important. Coulibaly, right? You must understand that the Roman Catholic Church is not an informal institution, but it is a stakeholder in politics, especially for public policy debates. So what is the main concept? Religion is a social institution. Okay? Yun yung safe na term na gamitin. It's not an informal political process. So how do I call it, Sir Clyde? Tawagin mo na lang social institution. Okay? And then from there, explain why it is a social institution. Ano yung main argument ni Coulibaly? If you guys recall the report of group number 3, Catholicism and religion has been an important institution in Philippine politics, albeit at different levels of influence. Diba? Recall Jacob, in his report, ang dami niyang historical periods na sinurvey. Tapos nung tinanong ko siya, so ano ba, waning ba, decreasing or increasing yung influence? The answer is, it depends on the period, right? But it remained through and through an important social institution in the Philippines. So, nonetheless, formal Philippine politics may sideline or go against religious institutions in particular areas of policy question. Sa madaling salita, stated otherwise, if that's very convoluted for you to understand, there will be periods in Philippine political history that the church will become the opponent of the state. Kasi magka-clash at magka-clash ang simbahan saka ang estado in critical policy debate areas. Halimbawa, we still do not usher into legislative debates about as to whether or not we finally allow divorce in the Philippines, right? Or same-sex marriage. Maybe in your timeline, if you guys become leaders in your own field, that will now be a hot issue. Okay? Pero bakit, Sir Clyde, bakit mag-aaway-away? Kasi nga, social institution ang Philippine Catholic Church. And it would always have a stake, not only because of the people that follow Roman Catholic Church's own right. Remember our lesson? Adherents, right? So when their leaders say this, they would do that. And it's particularly your freedom of so di ka as a political scientist to explain bakit sila away. Yun ang gusto kong dalhin nyo. May nag-aaway na simbahan sa kanang state. Dalawa ang kailangan yung malaman. That's first. Or and practice. Okay? People always confuse this as the same. Hindi na sila the same. Ginahambalan ko na kamo. Pang sumbagon need kamo. This as one as to the other. When we say separation of church and state, it is just understood as the non-establishment of religious institution in the Constitution. Okay? Ulitin ko. Separation of church and state, it is also a of powers. Ay, actually, lalabas siya. If nakikinig pa kayo, there will be a differentiation. Differentiate doctrine of separations of power vis-a-vis separation of church and state. So you must be able to tell me how different they are. Even if so punta muna tayo dun sa simbahan. I told you that separations, bawal magtayo ang estado ng national religion or a state-sponsored religion. Bawal si state magsabing, ito ang official religion. Okay. Dapat, ang policy lang na state is religious tolerance. I don't care if you're Roman Catholic adherents to any of faiths that we have in the Philippines because each to his own is equal. Yun lang yung sinasabi ng separation of church and state. So, halimbawa, pag tinanong kayo, pag hindi ba kayo pinayagang magsimba? Halimbawa, may mga military outside the Miagao Catholic Church. And then it will not allow students to attend masses. If ever that is the question in your essay exam. Church and state? It is not, right? Kasi yung military, hindi naman nag-i-establish ng state religion. It only violates what? Your religious freedom for religion or your freedoms of religion. So, kailangan yung himayin yung problema. Kaya tinuturuan ko kayong pag laging nag-aaway ang simbahan at ang estado, isang citizen, ang tanongin nyo lang una, does it violate separation of church and state? If hindi, punta kayo sa ikalawa. Does it violate freedom of religion? If it violates freedom of religion, then it is now a case of violation of your constitutional rights, which is a human right as well. Okay? Sa halimbawa, wala lang, para lang to bring home the point and to give you a synthesizing perspective. Nung pinatay ba ng Philippine Constabulary yung mga Lapiang Malaya members, kasi may anting-anting sila, is that a violation of separation of church and state or a violation of religious freedom? Anong sagot? Tell me, what's the answer? What's the answer? Miss Obligation, what's your answer?
It is a violation of freedom of religion, sir.
Correct. And then explain why. That will come out in your exam. Okay? Take note of that. 2 points yung tanong na yan. But it's the way how you explain these things. What is the conclusion? The conclusion is that religious institutions are informal institutions, yet it has a unique position in the analysis of Philippine politics. That's why you call it not as informal, but a social institution because of its unique position in the analysis of Philippine politics, as there is a constitutional guarantee on religious freedom. Okay? People must be able to practice their religion freely. To some extent, how is that even protected? In law, we have a separate Sharia code for our Muslims brothers and sisters, aiming to the fact that they have a separate religion. And therefore, when you contract a second marriage, if you're a Muslim, it is not bigamous. It's not a criminal offense. Okay? Religious freedom is protected in our country so and so that if you offend religious feelings, it is a criminal offense under the revised penal code. So naalala nyo si Celdran, Carlos Celdran, yung nagsuot ng Padre Damaso and then he went inside the Manila Cathedral and then he lambasted the father or the priest who was officiating a mass, a Catholic mass. Sinampan siya ng kaso. It was a case of offending religious freedom, which you can find in the revised penal code. So anyone with intention to malign a religious practice or a religious activity is criminally liable in the Philippine law. So that's how the Constitution protects religious freedom. Kahit anong gawin mo dyan, bawal dapat kang bastusin ng mga tao. Nobody should offend your religious freedom. Okay? Pag tinanong halimbawa, sir, may kilala ako, governor siya, pero pari din siya. Does that violate separation of church and state? No. Hindi naman disqualification na pari ka, na bawal kang tumakbo into a public office. Right? Recall the case of that priest who became the governor in Pampanga. So that's also an example of where the state respects freedom of religion when it comes to public service. Okay? Lastly, gusto ko lang sabihin na yung reverse naman. Sir, halimbawa magtatatag ako ng political ng party list. 'Di ba maraming party list, Aambis o OWA, ang teacher party list, ang boxer party list, lahat-lahat na lang, di ba? Pwedeng gawing party list. Sir, pwede po bang magtatag ng religious party list? What is the answer? Yes or no? Can a religious organization, that is one of the few exceptions under the Philippine election code, if the intention of the party list is to establish a state religion, tatakbo sila bilang party list. Anong goal nyo? Bakit tatakbo kayo? Gusto po naming isulong ang relihiyong ito. Bawal yon. The Constitution says they cannot do that because it's now tantamount to violation of separation of church and state. Because if they win, what they'll do is to establish a state religion, right? So that is a big no-no. So kindly make sure that you know the nuances of each of the questions when you are confronted with these questions. Sige, bibilisan pa na. Magsi 6:30 na. So prepare your device with your group mates wherever they are or whoever they may be. Let's go to the last. Beyond nostalgia, the Marcos political comeback. This will also come out in your essay exam. Maybe around 6 points, so medyo malaki. Questions. I think the main point that you have to remember is that syempre gawa ito ni July Tihanki, di ba? Tapos ang sabi niya is may authoritarian nostalgic feeling pa rin ang mga Pilipino. And that's the reason why nananalo pa rin ang Marcos dynasty. But the main argument is this, very simple, very short. I hope that you're still with me. Okay, last lecture na natin to. Kapit kayo dyan. Marcos myth making is a powerful source of power, which is the explanation ang kapit ng mga Marcoses ay narrative. Okay? Ang istorya, sa madaling salita, ang nagdadala sa kanila sa gobyerno at sa pamamahala sa Pilipinas. Narinig niyo na rin naman ako nagsabi, di ba, that a narrative, a political narrative is critical in establishing a political agenda or in establishing a political destiny for a particular country. So narratives, literature, actually yung political theory, postmodern, pre-modern, kahit na yung pre-ancient political theory, halimbawa, yung konsepto ng state, okay, or polis, na sinulat ni Plato at ni Aristotle nung kayo ay nagsoksay 2 kung matanda na kayo, pero kung hindi nyo inabutan yon, edi Ethics 1, kung magaling yung teacher nyo, dapat itinuro niya sa inyo yung mga konsepto ng city-state, di ba? Ni Plato, ni Aristotle. These are all narratives. Narratives lahat yan. And maybe you're too intelligent to dismiss the fact that democracy is also a narrative. When the Greek philosophers said that the best way to organize society is see there's power in that. In Greek philosophy is a good example of a political narrative. Nagiging legitimate lang siya later by the studies of social sciences and because people know that it is a correct theory. But what if it's a bad theory? What if it's the reverse of it, which changes history, which denies history, right? Anong sagot doon? It is still a political narrative. In politics, we do ang politika ay personal. It is the which is very powerful. People will believe you. People, it's an essential element of power. If this has been the study of Philippine politics, all your understanding for the entire semester is narratives are power. If you are the political strategies, what is the political narrative that you want to use to counter authoritarian nostalgia, 'di ba? Halimbawa, ang narrative mo ay ang Pilipinas ay isang tahimik na bansa na hindi nag-aaway-away ang mga tao, 'di ba? Pag naging presidente ka, so you include that in your story to tell. And politics, even social sciences, siguro social sciences at large, okay, rest on the power of storytelling. Because in storytelling, ideas perpetuate from one generation to another. And it might be edited, revised, altered. But the main point in class as a conclusion is a narrative in itself. In political science, it is a potent source of similar or propagating a political narrative that regardless ng China, 'di ba? Lupa natin tapos tayo pa yung may mali kasi we entered into a gentleman's agreement. Regardless if whether it's true or not, look at the impact of that. Tayo yung nagkakagulo. Hindi yung China, right? International relations. Just because of that carefully executed but excellently crafted narrative that the Philippines entered into a gentleman's agreement. Hindi na yung 9 dash line yung kinukuda na narrative ng China. Mga people so because they agree, right? And that is the best example that I could give you in terms of international relations and security, peace and security politics. That narratives are also used by people to paint a picture that they're the enemy or they are the ones at fault. Okay, so as to Philippine politics, kindly remember the continuing inversely proportional to the decline of the liberal order. Last na siya nga point, hindi na ko dayon mag-add. It means making as their source of power. The more that they're actually hurting the liberal gifted or gave us. Sige, mag-fake news pa yung mga Marcos. Gumawa pa kayo, gold. Sige, gumamit pa kayo. But the overall impact to that is it hurts Philippine democracy because of the social media echo chambers. People are just easily believe that that is correct without even verifying facts, right? Or maybe your children's children, if they are not carefully taught of the correct understanding that narrative is a source of political power. Gusto kong ituro nyo yan sa mga anak nyo in the future, na it is a source of political power. Not until somebody calls it out, that's bad, that's not good, that's just a narrative, that we will be in a difficult situation to improve the quality of democracy that we have. And the effect is that authoritarians will just come back in the cycle of Philippine presidential systems, every 6 years, you expect an authoritarian to be a president. Or if not an authoritarian, a populist like Duterte. Babalik at babalik sila. And they will be a staple until you die because of the strength of the political narrative that we have. Okay. All right. I hope that you guys were able to understand and follow me in this summary matrix. But at this point, let's play a game so that you guys are stimulated, so that also you're able to take note of the questions that will come out in your examination as you prepare for the last hours before you are done with this course. Okay? So punta na kayo dun sa, sige, may questions ba? I'll maybe probably give a minute. Yes, Miss
Yes,
Ochona?
sir. Before we start, wait lang, nakalimutan ko na yung tanong ko. I-upload ba, sir, yung recording, sir, ng session natin today?
Actually, I did not record
Ay, wait.
because you guys asked a permission if you could record. So ask your classmates if they
Ay,
do have
okay,
to
okay.
record. Okay?
Mm. Sige,
Feeling
sir.
ko
Thank you.
si Hans yung nag-ask ng permission.
Oh, kasi nakikita ko ding recording here.
Oo. Guys, i-share nyo na lang ha sa mga ka-moral sphere nyo yung joke lang, yung recordings ninyo. At this point, I hope that you're able to open a separate tablet or a separate screen and log into kahoot.com. As we do that, I'll ask Israel what is his question. Hans, what's your question?
Since sir by group sir yung amin sir sa quiz B, isa lang sir ma-login sa Kahoot sir or tanan kami sir.
Isa lang, sorry. So these are the instructions. Only one person kasi 5 wala akong pera pambili ng premium Kahoot. Kasi yung free Kahoot up to 5 lang na groups for multiple players. So let's just use the traditional mode. One person on behalf of your group logging in. Okay? Tapos pag tinanong kayo kung ano yung name group nyo, sundin nyo na lang yung group name assigned sa inyo, group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, or group A, group B, yun yung mga to recite. Diba? Tapos yung purpose, bakit kayo may group chat is, may 20 seconds na delay for you to think of the final answer. Okay? And you enter your correct answer on the screen in the Kahoot interface. So I'll now share again my screen. The screen now is supposed to show you the Kahoot pin, which you need to log in. Ayan, so nakikita nyo na, di ba? Log in muna kayo dito. The game pin is 547 0870 rated QR ready. You can also scan this QR code here so that you guys are able, you will be directed to the Kahoot interface. And once you've logged in, just enter the game pin, which is 5470870. Okay? Just tell me if you guys have all logged in. So I can see Group C. Group C reporter. May Group C tanga reporter. Tingnan natin ha. These are your reporting groupings onto your left. Okay? So I already have Group 4. Group 2, duha gid ang Group 2. Napakagahaman naman ng Group 2. How do we solve this? Can you guys revise that just before we start? Naririnig nyo pa rin ba ako? Malakas ba yung music o yung boses ko? Ha?
Sir, ang lakas ko ng music.
Malakas yung music. Hindi ko alam paano patayin eh.
Wala na po, sir.
Namatay na. Okay, sige. Ready to play the Kahoot review? Can I just see a show of hands, like a thumbs up, if your group has already sent a representative to the Kahoot platform? I'm just worried about Group B. Tinga aduhan niya ang Group B, how?
Wait lang.
Ay, sorry. Oo, paki-exit naman, please. If that is an alternative on your end. Para kasi may ano to eh. So group 1, 2, 3, 4, and then group A, B, C. Okay, I think we're all good. Okay, so just a couple of reminders just before we start. The Kahoot interface actually rewards more points to groups that would answer faster than the rest of the other groups. So it does not matter if your answer is correct, pero kulilat ka, you will always find your group at the last. Okay, so kahit magdi-discuss kayo, kung feel nyo talagang sobrang tama, pindutin nyo na yon. Okay? Kasi it would have an implication. Remember that we have 8 groups competing for scores. So for group A, B, and C, pag nakarank 1, 2, 3 sila, edi 10, 9, 8 na yung score nila sa oral recit. But remember, this is a 1-point quiz activity para matapos lang yung 10 points na quiz nyo. That's the reason why 20 points ang finals. So for those who are done with their reports, you guys will get an interval of 0.10 rather, from the first rank, which is 1.0, 0.9, 0.8, 0.6, and 0.5. Just before we start, are all conditions and instructions clear? Sige nga, mag-unmute naman kayo. Can we start the game? Can I hear you guys?
Yes, sir. Go, sir.
Okay, so let's start the game. This is just 10 items. The account what actors? 20 seconds starts now. The correct answer is the yellow option. State, market, and civil society. Always remember that, okay? Yun yung lessons natin about civil society organization, where we said that the civil society organization is the overlap of these 3 circles. And these 3 circles in this case would be your state, your market, and your civil society. Guys, magwa ni siya sa exam. Please memorize. Please memorize. Baka pag drawingin kayo, make sure that you're ready to draw as well what the expanded triadic model found in Ronald Holmes' article is all about. Okay, let's go to the next. So as to scores, Group A is actually leading with 851 points. Okay, let's go to question number 2. True or false? Patron relationship, a movement away from a bailiwick, is inversely related to electoral success. Timer starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is true. Then you need to do other strategies or actions like become a political boss and use goons, guns, and gold so that you ensure your electoral success. So let's check the ranking. Group B is now leading at 1651 points. Let's go to the what is not a long-term hegemonic struggle in the dual public spheres of Kusaka's framework. Antagonism, civic exclusivism, populism, or economic inequality. The correct answer is economic inequality. Remember that in the triangular structure of society, then it excludes people. It may support a pop. Let's see the ranking. Group B has a streak with 3 correct in a row. Congratulations. So Group B is now leading. 7 more questions. Let's go to the next. True or false? Lapiang Malaya is a religio-political organization. Hence, the massacre of its members is a violation of separation of church and state. The correct answer is false. Hindi ko alam ang nangyari sa timer. Medyo bumilis ata. Pero ang tamang sagot ay false. It is not a violation of separation of church and state. As mentioned in the review, welcome Kay, I can see you. But it is a violation of your constitutional freedom of religion. Okay? Remember, it's an important thing. So as to the scores, Group B is actually still leading, while Group 3 has 4 correct answers in a row. Medyo mabilis lang si Group B, yung mga to recite, than the Group 3 reporters. Let's go to the next. Bilisan nyo ha, huwag nyo na akong hintayin matapos magbasa kung gusto nyo manalo. Next. Which of the following is a formal institution with regard to the study of Philippine politics? Roman Catholic Church, mass and civic spheres, dynasties, or civil society organizations? The correct answer is Roman Catholic Church. It is not a formal institution again. Okay? Remember
Wait
that.
lang, sir.
We said
Akala ko
earlier
ba, sir, hindi sila formal institution, sir, yung Roman Catholic Church?
which of the following is a formal institution?
Kaya hindi kami nakasagot.
Hold on, wait. Anong tinatanong ko dito? Which of the following is a formal institution with regard to the study of Philippine politics? Are dynasties formal
Informal,
institutions?
sir.
So wala na yung blue ha. Are civil societies formal institutions?
Informal, sir.
Are mass and civic spheres formal institutions?
Informal, sir.
Remember that the catch is that Roman Catholic Church, although it is not a formal institution, has a state institution with respect only to policy making. Ano gani ang gingamit ko na term sa slides? It's a
Social institution,
formal,
sir.
Social, sir.
sorry, it is a social institution. So either or maybe para hindi na lang kayo malito, just use social institution. But also in the use of social institutions, 50% noon admits that it is a formal institution. And 50% of the time, it is informal. So parang hybrid siya. And just call it as a social institution because of its influence in policy making, like marriage, divorce, or ano pa ba, reproductive health bill or reproductive rights for women. Okay, so I apologize if some of you were confused, but hindi ko naman ma-change yung scoring system. But I think valid pa naman yung sagot ng Roman Catholic Church. Okay? Okay, let's see but Group A is already on the third rank. Anim na grupo tayo, no? So obviously, yung hindi nakikita sa screen yun yung kulelat, ha? Let's go to the next question. We're halfway there. We still have 7 minutes. Question number 6. What is the best way to prohibit dynasties, considering Congress is hesitant to legislate a law against its own interest? Its judicial branch should legislate. Okay? Ayusin ko lang yung music. This should have a music. Or what? Okay, let's go to the next. So as to your but Group B is still leading. Pakitalo naman ng points yan eh. 7. Separations of power refer to 3 branches of government, while separation of church and state pertain to non-establishment of state religion. True or false? The correct answer is true. I'm glad everybody got that right. Let's see the scoreboard. It remains unchanged. Okay. 3 more questions. Which is not integral? All answer. Not decline of liberal liberal and bosses to patron-client relationship, which is connected to the idea of dun sa graph, but interventionism is the effect which coincides with Marcos myth making. So let's see the order of groups and the 5th ranks. Okay, 2 more. Second to the last. The general rule, enactment of law are lodged to live. The following are exceptions to this rule, except what? Ten seconds. Three. Judicial legislation. Remember that I told you exceptions, but judicial legislation is not an exception. So, dalawa lang ang tumama. Mali yung iba. Let's see how leading. Followed by Group 3 and Group 2. Last question, guys, of political cause. 30 seconds. Be careful. 5 more seconds. The correct answer to this is either the red option or the blue option. But if you click on the yellow or the green, which I assume nobody did, then you're correct. It now depends just on how fast you guys encoded and submitted your answers, right? So let us see the final ranking so that I could give the two report individuals their report grade over 10 and also your score over 1 point, which is the remaining quiz point. Third in rank is group number 4. Group 3 is second in rank. And congratulations to Group B, which is yet to report for topping the examination, the activity. They got 7353. Okay, 9 out of 10 points. I-end ko muna to ha, kasi maingay. I actually don't know what happened to the music, but it's supposed to be fun because of the music. But congratulations. Pinicturean ko ba yung ranking? Did someone take note of the ranking, especially the fourth and the group chat, okay, when you were coordinating with each other? Please tell me if you ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that I could just verify, okay? I will just end our review for tonight with not housekeeping reminder, exam bulletin number 4, okay? So that you guys could finally eat your dinner and then proceed to, I don't know, relaxation or cramming period if you have not prepared for our exam tomorrow. So I will post this also in our Google Classroom, but this is your last and final reminder before our exam tomorrow. So the examination will start by 8:30 a.m. Please do not be late. Obviously, if it's in the afternoon, it's 1 p.m. All belongings, once you arrive at the CFOS AV, you put them immediately in the front right area. Only your laptop and your computer devices and your chargers and your extension wires will be allowed in your table. So your mobile phones, all sort of paper reviewers or other gadgets which will not be used for the duration of the examinations, kindly in the of answers will only begin by 11 for the AM schedule. So your mobile phones for hotspot connectivity, if there is no Wi-Fi in the area, onwards. Kung magko-connect kayo sa hotspot, aside from that, all your phones must be tucked in your bag or wherever you place them. Students who finish the exam at an earlier period of online submission. So if you're very fast, like speed, okay, you cannot leave the AV premises not until 11:30 a.m. And then 1 person at a time policy for bathroom break will be observed. And then for the last leg of your review, discuss how your quiz B questions might be answering essay questions with your group if your questions. So baka ang magandang gawin from now on until later pag natuloy ng mga test essay questions. Tapos sagutan nyo lang. Wala na sigurong kwenta yung babalikan nyo pa yung lahat-lahat ng mga lesson. Just focus on to these items. Because under the Pareto principle, these items will surely come out. So you have to be ready to answer in a yes or no and explain or enumerate or contrast and compare. Okay? And good luck and may the odds be ever in your favor. Rosel, your midterms incentive together with the finals incentive. That is if you top as well the finals exam. Pero bibigay ko na lang sa inyo after na nung semester. Okay? So 7:03 na mga kapatid, because I have the second years coming in for their review as well. 30. I think I have 2 minutes to transition, but yeah, just keep your questions coming. I'll entertain you. Okay? Sige, Rosel first
Okay,
before we
very
formally
stupid
end.
question lang, sir. Kasi nag-ask
No question is
kasi
stupid. Just
Hindi,
ask.
nag-ask kasi ako sa mga classmates, sir. Kasi this is not usually how we do exam sa psych cluster. Yung pagka-understand kasi, sir, is yung coverage is after midterms na. Pero I asked like 6 of my classmates and they said na yung coverage daw ng exam is sir. Kasi nagpapanik ako kung babalikan ko pa ba yung mga sa pinakauna pa.
Bulletin 2 says that modules 1, 2 are also included, right? But of a smaller percentage. So, if mag-aaral kayo, tingnan nyo lang yung mga pinaka-importante doon sa module 1 and module number 2. Pero pag beyond 35%, meaning lalabas at lalabas talaga yan. If lalabas man si module 1 and 2, mga cross-references yan. Halimbawa, what is separation of power as opposed to separation of church and state?
Mm.
So, mga ganong mga ganong Mr.
Thank you,
Cortumes.
Sir, ma-Pulsay 101 ka next sem, sir.
Oo, ako ang teacher sa policy next time. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sige. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow. There's an ice cream. Alam kong messy siya kainin. So maybe you bring tissues with you or a bottle of water because it's still the temperature is still high for as for work well with your group mates and focus on and see you. Good luck.
Bye,
Guys.
sir.
Bye. Goodbye, guys.